Hi everyone. Very good evening, good afternoon, good morning to you, wherever you're joining us from. I'm Rasha Khan, and I'm your host for today's webinar. And yeah, I'm joining all the way from Bangalore, India. Would love to know where are you tuning in from on the chat here. For folks who are watching us on Zoom, you can let us know by introducing yourselves with your name and where are you tuning in from on the webinar chat box. And for folks who are watching us live on a YouTube channel, you can also let us know by introducing yourselves on the YouTube live chat box. So we have few minutes before we start the session. So let's utilize that time to introduce ourselves, network a bit among our peers, right? So I see almost folks have started. A lot of folks have started joining in already, and yeah, I see introductions have already started coming in on the chat here. I see Saurabh has joined us from Noida, and Suraj says hello. Would love to know where are you joining us from, Suraj. And I see Diego has joined us from Colombia on the webinar chat box here. So today we'll be covering the free project demonstration for how you can build an AWS load balancer and configuration project from scratch. So this would be a project demonstration, so a demo. And we also will be covering the AWS Cloud Architect Masters program as well. So this basically project is a part of the AWS Cloud Architect Masters program we'll be talking about. And then there are many other amazing projects, hands-on projects, which you get to work through this program here. Yeah, moving on to the next slide. So this program and webinar is powered by Simplilearn, world's #1 online bootcamp. We have been in the digital skills space for almost more than a decade now, and we are very proud that we have transformed lives by empowering people via these skills. And the skill we'll be talking about today is the cloud architect skill by AWS. We have advanced over 500,000 careers in over 150 plus countries. We have 40 plus global accreditations and 800 plus qualified trainers. And we have one such amazing trainer here with us, expert here with us today. I'll be introducing you to him soon, but moving on to the ground rules here. So we have few quick and easy ground rules here for the session. And these are to make sure that you have an amazing experience during the webinar and even after the webinar as well. So for that, just to quickly take you through them. So in case you have any questions, you can let us know by dropping in your queries in the Q&A box, and the session is being recorded. So in case you want to go through the recording of the session once again, in case you missed anything, so please don't worry. We will be sharing the recording of the session with you over mail post-webinar. You should receive that within 24 to 48 hours of post-webinar. And also, there is a webinar certificate for attending this session. So for that, you'll have to request a proof of attendance for this webinar, and we will need your full name for that. Let me just show you how the certificate of participation looks like. So this is the certificate of participation which is provided for attending this webinar. And this is the detail basically where your name goes. I will need your full name for basically the personalized webinar certificate. And this will be for attending the session today, the topic today, and this will be shared by Simplilearn and will be issued to you. What exactly is your webinar certificate? You might have a question like that, right? So this webinar certificate is useful for sharing with your network. For example, on LinkedIn, you can basically share with your network, show that you're working towards your professional development. As this is a project demonstration session, you will be basically seeing a project demo and learning a lot of new things. And you can also tag our Simplilearn handle and also our expert, Dr. Purshottam Asudani. Yeah. And folks are already doing that. They actually are already sharing their insights and certificate screen grabs of the session. And yeah, they're getting a lot of support from their network. And we have a hashtag which is growing pretty quickly here. Let me just quickly share that hashtag here with you. That is the hashtag SimplyGrow. So what you can do is once you receive the certificate that you should be able to receive within 24 to 48 hours, all you have to do is you have to use the hashtag SimplyGrow, and you can also follow the hashtag as well. So let me just quickly share the link towards the hashtag if you want to check out what others are posting. I'm sharing it on the chat here. You can follow the hashtag. You can go and support folks who are posting already and sharing their insights about these webinars. And yeah, connect with a lot of like-minded folks globally there. Now, moving on towards the agenda of today's session. So the first and the most important agenda of today's session is about you, getting to know a little bit about you and how we can help you out in your career better. And the second agenda of today's session is the program introduction for the AWS Cloud Architect Master's Program. And followed by that, we'll be covering the project demonstration. The project which is actually covered in this program will be showing you a demo of it, of one of the projects. And the project we'll be talking about today is how you can build an AWS load balancer configuration project from scratch. Again, like this is a demonstration, not exactly the overall project. With this, you will have an idea what exactly happens in these projects and how exactly this project help you showcase that hands-on experience, practical experience, which you may require once you are done with the program to showcase to your future employers, and definitely acts as an advantage there. And next, moving forward, we'll be sharing with you the learner outcomes. What exactly are the learners saying? Who are these learners? Where do they come from? What are the industries they come from, organizations they come from? And what are the learners saying about the program or what their experience? And based on the interest you share towards enrollment into the AWS Cloud Architect Master's Program, we'll be taking you through the enrollment steps of the program, where we'll be sharing basically the program fee, the upcoming cohort you can join, and also what are the steps towards enrollment, which the learning consultants from Simplilearn will help you out with as well after the webinar. And last but not the least, the Q&A. So the Q&A is secured towards the end because you will be getting a lot of questions throughout the webinar, right? So please make sure that you put your questions in the Q&A box, and that will be really helpful for our expert to go and check out your questions and address them whenever he gets the time. And if not, we will take your questions towards the end. Just have a little patience and keep your questions related to the topic. Moving on to the next slide. Before we start the session before we introduce you to our expert, let's do a quick poll to know you a little better. So starting with the poll, how many years of experience do you currently have? So I've launched the poll right now. For folks who have joined us on Zoom, can quickly go and vote for the option out of 4 options, which is the most suitable for you. The first one here is currently studying. Second one here is 0 to 3 years. Third one here is 3 to 5 years. And the fourth one here is more than 5 years. And folks who are watching us live on our YouTube channel, you can also respond by responding on the YouTube live chat box. Just you can directly share your number of years of experience you have currently. Let me quickly check out our YouTube live chat box as well, folks who have joined us there. I see Yash has joined us from Gujarat on the YouTube live chat box. A lot more introductions there. I see most of you have responded for the poll here, but let's give it like 5 more seconds. So last 5 seconds for the poll, how many years of experience do you currently have? So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let me quickly end the poll. Thank you so much for sharing your responses. Thank you so much, folks. Let me also share the results with you. Let's see what have you voted for. So I see 36% of you have more than 5 years of experience. Wow, that's interesting. A lot of experienced folks here. And 30% of you are currently studying. And 28% of you have 0 to 3 years of experience. And 6% of you have 3 to 5 years of experience. So thank you so much once again. Thank you for sharing your responses for this poll. Now moving on to our speaker and expert introduction here. Dr. Purshottam Asudani. Dr. Purshottam, welcome. A very good evening to you.
Good evening, Dasha. Thank you.
We have a very interesting project demo lined up for the AWS Cloud Architect Master's Program. We'll be picking up one of the projects, right, and showing them a demo of it. But before that, we would love to know a little bit about you before we start the session.
Yeah, sure. So, guys, my name is Purshottam, and I'm basically working as an assistant professor in Sri Ramdev College of Engineering and Management, Nagpur. And I'm a solutions architect, technology enthusiast, consultant and trainer, certified cloud professional, innovator, and educator. I specialize in cloud computing in AWS Cloud Platform. I'm 3 times certified on AWS, that is AWS Certified Solutions Architect Associate, AWS Certified Practitioner, AWS Certified Solutions Architect Professional, which is the top level certification in architect domain on AWS. and also certified on Microsoft Azure Architect and Azure Administrator Associate. I'm a AWS certified trainer and a Microsoft certified trainer, plus having Oracle certified associate certification as well. I'm working as a corporate trainer. I've delivered multiple corporate trainings with multiple multinational companies, just to name a few, like Tieto, Capgemini, Mercedes-Benz, R&D clients, Vodafone, Cisco, etc. There are many more for AWS Solutions Architect, Azure Solutions Architect level trainings. I'm a Google Scholar, have done my research, my PhD in cloud computing, in resource scheduling in cloud from VIT Vellore, India. Yes, and I'm passionate about cloud and have been taking the various courses on cloud from quite some time. Yeah, that's in short about me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Purshottam, for the introduction. Once again, welcome to the session, and it's always a pleasure hosting you. So let's start with the program introduction here before we move on to the project demo, talking about the AWS Cloud Architect Master's Program from Simplilearn. This certification is aligned to AWS, and it comes with the industry aligned learning path. We'll be talking about the learning path in detail in the upcoming slides. And also I think this program comes with a lot of hands-on experience in projects. We'll be showing you a project demonstration of one of them as well, while talking about what are these hands-on projects and how exactly these hands-on projects are helpful for you folks once you're done with the program. And also the format of the classes is online live virtual classrooms. With that, we'll be showing you the learning management system of Simplilearn, where you can actually go and see what are the live basically classrooms and where are the self-recorded videos which actually help you with the basics to cover. And the program duration for this master's program is 11 months, and you can just complete by giving approximately 10 to 15 hours per week. Now, moving on to the next slide, about the eligibility and requisites of the program. So who exactly is eligible to take up this program? So fresh graduates who intend to take the plunge into the cloud job market are welcome, and professionals with less than 2 years of experience are welcome. If you have more than 2 years of experience, that is not an issue. Obviously, any kind of experience adds an advantage here. And moving on to the next slide, talking about who exactly is an AWS Cloud Architect, Dr. Purshottam.
Yeah. Yes. So, see, basically, cloud architects are the persons who are responsible for making the design decisions. Actually, so they are the persons who make high-level design choices. And so basically, an architect's job is to develop the architecture, to design the architecture, to consider the various possible solutions to a given problem, and out of that go with the one that suits the requirement the most, like it should go well with the company's requirement, the budgets, the use cases and everything. So based on that, selecting the proper services, the proper solution out of a given of choices is what an architect's role is. So based on that, an architect will design the architecture, and then he would give it to the developers for them to develop and create those services, right? So an architect's role is of prime importance, and he plays a very big role in an organization. Because of an architect, an organization can make a lot of money, can save on a lot of cost. Yeah. So yes, so an architect is a very important person in an organization. Yeah.
And moving on to the learning part of the program, how exactly this program, AWS Cloud Architect program, builds the learner skills step by step.
Yeah. So basically, see, with this program, initially you start with orientation session for AWS Cloud Architects Master's Program. So there you would be given the introduction to this program, as in what would be covered in this program. And then you'll go through the first course, that is on AWS Cloud Technical Essentials. So there, the fundamentals of AWS services would be discussed with you, fundamentals of different services, and then you actually go through the AWS Solutions Architect course in which you would be studying about the Architect Associate course on AWS. And once you do that, then you get the most like coveted and awaited certification, that is the Master's Program Certificate on AWS. Now, see, the point is that this is how the things go. So these are the compulsory courses that you'll have to go through. But there are electives also, which you can opt if you are interested into. Now, out of the electives mentioned here, you can go for one or all of them at no extra cost. So the electives that are there for you are AWS Developer Associate. That's basically there if you are into the development area or you are interested to become a developer on AWS, you should go with this course then. And then you have AWS Database Migration. So that discusses about how you can migrate your workloads from, let's say, another cloud, let's say Azure to AWS or AWS to Azure or on-premises to AWS, correct? And then during that database migration, whether it is the same database that you want to migrate, like MySQL to MySQL, then it is called as homogeneous migration. Or maybe if you want to migrate Oracle to MySQL, then it is called as heterogeneous migration. So for that, you will need a schema conversion tool. So you study that in this. And then you have AWS SysOps Associate. So that basically talks about the system operations jobs on AWS, something like an administrator role. Okay. And then, there's another course on mastering AWS services, which has the official AWS content. So you would be studying about the different AWS services there as well. Sure. Right.
Thank you so much for taking us through the learning path of the program. Now, moving on to the tools, platforms, and libraries which are covered in the program as well.
Yeah. So basically, see, there will be a lot of services that would be actually covered in this program. But to name a few, like there are a few services that are mentioned here, like you'll be going through the compute services like ECS, Elastic Container Service, which is nothing but a lightweight virtual machine kind of thing. Then you have EC2 service through which you can create your virtual machines. Okay. Then you have AWS Lambda. So through that, you can create a serverless compute service. I mean, that is there. Then you have monitoring services like AWS CloudWatch that can monitor your services in AWS. Then you have CloudFormation. Now, CloudFormation is infrastructure as a code, which helps you to automate the things so you can create many good resources like virtual machines, databases, everything in an automated manner with the help of AWS CloudFormation. Okay. Then you have Elastic Beanstalk, which is a PaaS-based service. Okay. So basically you can create your virtual machines. You can actually host your web applications in a PaaS-based manner, wherein the servers would be managed by AWS using Elastic Beanstalk. Then you have a database services like DynamoDB to handle your NoSQL data, RDS to handle your your relational data. Then you have SQL service in Azure to again handle your SQL data. Then so these are few of the services, plus there are many more services that would be covered in this program. Yeah.
I think we will be talking more about these tools, I think, when we talk about the project demonstration as well. So let us know if you have any questions, folks. Now, who exactly should be taking up this AWS Cloud Architect training?
So see, basically now see, AWS Architect training, who should take it? So I would suggest like any professional can take it up. And not just a professional, guys, even in today's world, I would suggest, and with the demand of AWS in market, I would suggest it for a fresher as well. However, for a fresher doing this course, he may not get immediately the architect role in any organization, but he can join in as a cloud engineer and later can be promoted to an architect role with the experience in hand. But yes, doing this course adds a lot to a profile. To your profile, and that can actually help you in getting the required role. If you're already working, that will boost your career. You will get the required pay hikes, or if you are looking for a job, this will enhance your chances of getting a job many folds. Okay, so ideally, I would say any professional interested in hosting, let's say, highly scalable, fault-tolerant applications on AWS Cloud platform should take this Cloud Architect certification course. Okay, so it is ideal for solutions architect, programmers, cloud developers, cloud software engineers, DevOps professionals, and even now, as I told you, if you are a fresher, you want to become a cloud engineer, you can take this course. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for addressing that. Now, moving on to the industry-based hands-on projects we have in this program, right? We'll be covering one of them as a demonstration as well. But before we do that, what exactly are these projects and how exactly are these projects helpful for learners?
So see, basically, these projects that we take it up as the course end projects. Okay. Normally, and so at the end of the course, these projects are taken, and basically, with these projects, you learn a lot on whatever you have studied during the course. Like if I talk about the first project, migrate SQL Server database to MySQL using AWS Database Migration Service. So as I told you, you can do the migration of, let's say, database from on-premises to AWS or a third-party cloud, let's say Azure to AWS using the AWS DMS service. And that database can be having like homogeneous database migration or heterogeneous migration. A homogeneous, when you want to migrate, let's say, one database MySQL to MySQL, that is homogeneous. If it is, let's say, Oracle to MySQL, it's heterogeneous because the schema will change there. So if it's a heterogeneous database migration, then you'll have to make use of schema conversion tool to bring the source database, in the same schema as the target database, and then you can do that migration. Okay, so in this project, you will actually do that migration. That's what you do in this project. Then the next one is custom VPC creation. So here you can create your virtual private cloud, your own custom cloud. By designing your network, you can just create it with the public and private subnets. So initially, all the subnets would be private. Then you can make some subnets as public and bring in the internet there. And the use case for this would be like you can keep the websites on your web servers, which can have the internet. So you can put them in public subnet and your database servers in the private subnets, and they won't have the internet for the security reasons. Okay. So yeah, so that can be done, and that's what we do in this project. So we use internet gateways and custom route tables to help achieve this particular stuff. Then the third one, that is load balancer configuration. I think this is the one we are going to do today, correct? So in this, we launch 2 web servers and configure a load balancer and auto scaling with that. So basically here, you will come to see how you can actually configure your web servers, how you can run your website on your web servers, and then how you can do auto scaling of those web servers and with the load balancer in front of it, how you can balance the load on those web servers so that the website that your web servers are running, that website is running at all the possible times, and that no server would be heavily loaded and no would be lightly loaded, correct? And then in the fourth project, that is RD gateway configuration. So you can configure the RD gateway and then on a VPC with a public and private subnet. Yeah. So how you can do it. So that is something that we do it in that project, correct?
Yes, and thank you so much for taking us through these industry-based projects. Now, moving on to the one of the projects we'll be covering through this program. As a project demonstration, how we can build an AWS load balancer and configure the project from the scratch. So over to you, Dr. Purshottam. Let me know if you would like to share your screen and also start the project demonstration.
Yes, sure. So let me share my screen.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Dr. Purshottam is doing that. I see a lot of amazing questions coming on the chat here. So please make sure that you move your questions to the Q&A box because folks have already started putting down their questions there. And whenever the speaker gets time, he will try to address your questions. If not, we'll address it towards the end. So please keep sharing your questions. Please keep sharing them away. We have a lot of time for the session and we'll try to address all of your questions. So please don't worry about that.
So just give me a moment. I am just beginning with this. Okay, load balancer, correct. Yeah. So guys, straight away, see, I'll show you a diagram, and I'll also tell you about first what is the load balancer and the auto scaling in a bit quickly. Okay. So I'll let you know on that bit quickly, and then I'll go to this project. Yeah, just a second. Give me. Yes. So, see, I'll put something on load balancing stuff. And so what's basically a load balancer? So see, I'll be quick in this, guys, because I want to get into the actual project that I want to discuss. So see, basically in AWS, if I talk about load balancer, so load balancer's job is to balance the load across your servers so that no server is heavily loaded and no server is lightly loaded. That is what is the job of a load balancer is. I'll show you a diagram to better explain you this thing. Okay. Yeah. So see what a load balancer will do. So it can take the traffic from internet or internal resources, and it would try to give it to the servers in its backend pool, in its target group, correct, in a load balanced manner. So all these servers can be running the, let's say, the same website, and the load balancer would be forwarding the traffic on these servers in a load balanced manner. I'll give you an example. Let's say if all these servers are running one common website, let's say Zomato website, so why you are running that Zomato website on multiple servers? For high availability, so that if there are many requests for Zomato website, so that can be segregated among all these virtual machines in in a balanced manner. So some request load balancer will send it to the first virtual machine, some to the second virtual machine, and so on, so that all the users would see the Zomato website running in their browsers, and these servers will not be heavily loaded, so that the website will perform fine, and then it would not be overloaded, and it would work with low latency and as expected. Okay, so the load balancer becomes really important to balance the load across the server, so that your website runs absolutely fine with a low latency. So that's the job of a load balancer is, guys. Now this load balancer, if you have heard about the OSI model, that is ISO OSI model, Open Systems Interconnect model. So basically the OSI model has 7 layers, guys. That is, I would say APS, TNDP, that is application, presentation, session, network, data link, and physical layer. Okay, so there are different load balancers that works on different layers. Like your application load balancer in AWS works on layer 7, and higher the layer, the smarter your load balancer is. So application load balancer works on layer number 7, which is a smart load balancer. Then you have network load balancer, which works on layer 4, that is the transport layer in the OSI model, guys. Okay, so basically the application load balancer, since it works on layer 7, so it can handle the HTTP and HTTPS traffic, that is hypertext transfer protocol, and hypertext transfer protocol with secure traffic. And the layer 4, that is transport layer load balancer, can handle the TCP and UDP traffic. Okay, yeah, so that's what I've mentioned here. And the network load balancer can handle billions of requests per second basis. Application load balancer, which works on layer 7, it can also it is also called as a smart load balancing option in AWS, that can also handle many requests per second. Okay, then you have classic load balancer also, which works on layer 7 and layer 4 in the OSI model. Okay, and then you have other types of load balancers also in AWS, like global load balancer, which works on layer 7 and layer 4, and global accelerator, which is there to reduce the latency, and it also can reduce your overall latency, and it works across the geographic regions as well. So basically, we are not interested in getting into the details of load balancer much, but then what our project tells us is to take up the load balancer, any of these load balancers, and try to balance the load across our servers in a load balance manner. That is one good what I can say the objective of today's project is. And the second objective is to actually do the auto scaling of these servers. Okay. Now, why would we need to do auto scaling of these servers? Okay. So I'll tell you the use case for that. See, first job is to balance the load across the servers in a load balance manner so that no server is heavily loaded, no server is lightly loaded. And I told you the use case for that. If all these servers are running the same website, let's say Zomato website, so the website performance should not go down and the website latency should be low. I mean, it should run fast, okay, for the users. And that is the reason we try to balance the load across the different servers, and we try to run our website on different servers. Okay. Now, the other job or the other objective of today's class is to do auto scaling of these servers. Now, why we would need auto scaling? Okay. So basically, to put the agenda in a nutshell here, I would tell you that these are the things we are going to discuss. That is the load balancer that I told you, and then the auto scaling of the servers with launch template or launch configuration. Now, why we need auto scaling, guys? So when I say auto scaling, so I am basically interested in horizontal scaling. So when I say horizontal scaling, so what do I mean with horizontal scaling, guys? So I will just show you that with the help of a again a particular diagram. Okay, I would show you that what I mean by horizontal scaling, guys. Okay, just give me a moment. Yeah, here it is. No, not this one. Maybe this one. No, I'll just open up that presentation and I'll show it to you. Yes, this is the one. So what I mean by horizontal scaling, guys, is something I would like to show it to you directly in this diagram itself so that it becomes really clear to you. Okay. So when I say horizontal scaling, that means I'm trying to increase the number of servers. Okay. If you can see in the second diagram here, okay. So when I say horizontal scaling, it's like increasing the number of servers of a particular configuration. So let's say hypothetically, I'll give you a use case, guys, for horizontal scaling. Let's say if take the example of any e-commerce website, let's say Flipkart, Amazon. Okay, so guys, they have their sale days around the year. Like you have in India, you have Amazon's Great Indian Sale, Flipkart's Big Billion Days. So during that time, guys, hypothetically, let's say if Amazon's website, amazon.in is working on 100 servers. So during the sale days, let's say if all these 100 servers are more than 80% or 90% CPU utilized, then what should happen? New number of servers should be created during the sale days to cater to the additional traffic. And why that should happen? So that the website performance should not go down and website should not collapse. Okay, website should not go down. That's why you need more number of servers. And when you create more number of servers of that particular configuration, then it is called as horizontal scaling, guys. And ideally, you should have it have this done in automated manner so that when the load increases, automatically new number of servers are created. And when the sale days are off, when all these servers are, let's say, less than 20% utilized, so those additional servers, when not required, they should be terminated also, guys, so that you are not paying for them when not required. Okay, so that again can be done in an automated manner, and that again comes in horizontal scaling, and that again should be done in an automated manner. So that again is called as auto scaling, guys. So automated horizontal scaling is what you call it as auto scaling. And I've just discussed with you the use case why we need this. Okay, so and what is auto scaling? What is auto horizontal scaling? That is, you increase or decrease the number of servers in an automated manner. And guys, there is another concept also, vertical scaling. So in vertical scaling, you don't increase or decrease the number of servers, but rather you increase the power of an existing server or decrease the power of an existing server. I'll give you an example. Let's say if you have a server with 2 vCPUs and 2 GB of RAM capacity. So if you want to increase its power, let's say from 2 vCPUs to 4 vCPUs and 2 GB of RAM to 4 GB of RAM, so you can do it with a vertical scaling. And when would you need it, guys? The use case. Let's say if you're using a server in a general purpose manner, but now you want to use it for a machine learning workload. So you want to increase its size. Okay, so you can do it with vertical scaling. And that is normally is manual. Okay, but yes, horizontal scaling is normally automated, wherein you increase or decrease the number of servers as per your requirement. Like I told you, with e-commerce website like Flipkart's Big Billion Days, Amazon's Great Indian Sale, at that time you would like to increase the number of servers, and when the sale days are off, you would like to reduce the number of servers in an automated manner, so that your website performance doesn't go down, right? And that's what we are going to see in today. Okay, so basically in today's project we are going to have a look at that how we can increase or decrease our number of servers in an automated manner with horizontal scaling, and how we can put a load balancer above those servers, so that the load balancer will try to balance the load across your existing servers, so that all the servers are equally balanced, equally loaded. No server is heavily loaded, no server is lightly loaded. And when the load increases, then new number of servers would be created with the concept of an auto scaling, so that they would cater to the additional traffic. So the load balancer will play a very vital role in this auto scaling activity, because when you will decide on to increasing the number of servers or reducing the number of servers, you will look at the load on the existing servers, and the load balancer is there to actually properly balance the load across the servers, so that when you will take the decision to increase the number of servers, let's say if you want to increase the number of servers when the existing servers are more than 80% CPU utilized, so your load balancer will make sure that all the servers are more than 80% utilized, and then only you create a next server, okay, additional server. It should not be the case that 2 servers are 80% utilized and 2 servers are 10% utilized. Then how would you take the decision to create an additional server? Now that would not be a right decision then. So the load balancer will balance the load across the servers, so that every server is equally loaded, and then it would be easier for you to take the decision to create a new server when the existing servers are more than 80% utilized, let's say, because all of those servers, when they are more than 80% utilized, then you would create a new server. Okay, so the load balancer will aid in the decision of auto scaling, and that is something that we are going to see in today's project here. Right, so just tell me one good thing, guys. Are you good till this point? Then if you are good till this point, we will go and we will do this activity. In this, what we are going to do is we are going to create a load balancer, and we are going to create the virtual machines. Here I've just shown 2 virtual machines. We can have 2 or more than 2 virtual machines, but these virtual machines we are not going to create manually, but we are going to create with the help of auto scaling. Okay, and yes, we will have the security groups for our load balancer and for our virtual machines. So when we'll try to create our virtual machine, so EC2 is a service that helps you to create virtual machines in AWS, that is Elastic Compute Cloud. And basically, for our virtual machines, we will have a firewall in the form of a security group that will decide that which traffic should be allowed to come inside the virtual machines, okay, through its inbound security group rules. So we will allow HTTP traffic because we'll be running the websites on these virtual machines. So that would need the HTTP hypertext transfer protocol traffic. And we will also allow SSH traffic from anywhere. Why SSH? Because we'll be creating Linux virtual machines. So to connect to a Linux virtual machine, let's say from my laptop, I'll need the secure shell protocol traffic, SSH traffic. Okay, that I'll allow. And yes, HTTP traffic, because I would be running my websites on these virtual machines. And when the users would try to connect to my website, that would be running on these virtual machines. So the user's traffic will come through HTTP hypertext transfer protocol. And I'll not allow HTTP traffic from anywhere, because I want that traffic to come through load balancer. And that's why I'll allow that traffic from the load balancer, that is from the load balancer security group, wherein I will allow that HTTP traffic of the users from internet, that is from anywhere. Okay, so onto the load balancer security group, I'll allow HTTP traffic from internet, from anywhere, and onto the security group of my web servers, of my EC2 instances, I'll allow HTTP traffic just from my load balancer. Okay, that is from my load balancer security group. So that's what we are going to do. So is it clear till this point? Yeah. So shall we go and do this then? Yes. Can I get a quick confirmation? Maybe. Yeah. You can put a yes or no in the chat window if you are good till this point. Yes, please. Okay, it's clear. Great. Thank you. Thanks for the confirmation. So let's get ahead and let's do it pretty quickly, guys, because we have good time, but yeah, limited time. So let's do it quickly. Yeah, so we'll create a load balancer first, guys, and so maybe I'll be a bit fast, guys. But then it's not expected that you have to do it along with me. You can just see me doing it, and later you can try it out as well. So why I'll be a bit fast? Because I'll have to cover it up for you in the best possible manner and in the time that is there, right? Okay, yeah, and the recording will be shared with you. Yeah, so that should not be a problem. Yeah, so I'll create a load balancer. First of all, I'll create two security groups, guys, one for my load balancer and one for the EC2 instances, and then I'll go and create my load balancer. So let's go it step by step. So I'll quickly jump into my AWS account and I would start doing it. Okay. Yes, guys. So I'll first go to EC2 service where I will create the security groups. So there, I can go to security groups, guys, where you can find it there. Here somewhere. Yeah. In network and security, you can find security groups. And I already have two created with the same name, so I'll just delete them first. So I'll just quickly delete it. Okay. Yeah, so I'll just quickly create it. So first of all, for the load balancer, I'll name it as ELBSG, guys. In the description also, I can just write ELBSG. I can go with the default VPC. And in the inbound port rules, I'll allow which traffic? HTTP traffic from anywhere. From anywhere IPv4, because that's what I've mentioned in this diagram, guys. If you can see it here, HTTP from anywhere. Okay. That's it. Outbound, all traffic is allowed to go anywhere. That's fine. And I'll just create this. So I'll just create this security group. Now, let me create another security group. Okay, so I'll just go with the security groups itself, and I would create another security group, guys. That is one I've created for my load balancer. The another one I'm going to create for my EC2 instances, and I'll name it as WebSG. In the description, I can write anything, or I can just put WebSG. And in the inbound port rules, I'll allow two traffics. One is SSH from anywhere. Okay. So SSH from anywhere IPv4. And what? So see, I've mentioned it here, SSH from anywhere and what HTTP from load balancer security group. I could have allowed HTTP also from anywhere, guys, but you should go according to the use case, since the HTTP traffic should come only through load balancer. That's why I'll allow it only from load balancer security group. Because if I would have allowed it from anywhere, then it would have came from load balancer security groups also, but then users would have been able to connect directly also to my EC2 instances, not through load balancer as well. So that should not happen. That's why I'll just allow it from load balancer only. So I'll say custom, and here I'll give the load balancer security group name, and I'll find it here, ELBSG, here it goes. So I have it, guys. And what I'll do is I'll create this security group. Okay, so I hope this is all good. So we have two security groups in place, that is the ELBSG for the load balancer and the WebSG for my EC2 instances. Now let's go and create my load balancer, guys. Okay, so let's go and create the load balancer. Okay, fine. So let's do it. So I'll just go to load balancer, elastic load balancer, which is there in EC2 itself. So in the load balancing, I'll just go with load balancers option, and I'll say create a load balancer. Now there will be multiple load balancers, as I've already talked about, not in detail, but an overview. So we'll go with application load balancer, guys. Okay, so I'll just go and create that. Now here, I'll give the load balancer name. So I'll name it, let's say my LB1. I can provide any name, guys. Now I want to get the traffic from internet, guys. Okay, the my website traffic from the internet. Okay, so I'll make it as internet facing, not internal, because if you'll make it internal, then the traffic will come from the internal resources, not from the internet. Okay, so I want it from the internet, so I'll make it internet. Internet facing, correct? So I'll make it internet facing, guys, correct? And then what? Then VPC, I'll go default. And yes, one thing I'll make sure that I'm putting this load balancer in all the availability zones in EastUS, so that, guys, tomorrow, if my virtual machine gets created in one availability zone or another availability zone, that doesn't make a difference. The load balancer will be able to balance the traffic across that virtual machine. Because let's say, I'll give you an example. If I just put this load balancer in US East 1A availability zone only, that is the data center 1A only, then in that case, if my virtual machine is created in US East 1A, the load balancer will be able to balance the traffic across it. But if it is created in another availability zone, the load balancer will not be able to balance the traffic across that particular virtual machine then. So that's why I want my load balancer to balance the traffic across all the virtual machines, no matter in which availability zone they are created. So that's why I'll map my load balancer in all the availability zones in East US, US East North Virginia. And guys, if you have your virtual machines created in different availability zones, that will make your website highly available if you are running your website on these virtual machines, correct? Virtual machines, okay? Because even if one availability zone goes down, the virtual machines inside that availability zone will go down. But if you have virtual machines that are running your website in another availability zone also, then those will still be functioning and your website will still be functioning then, okay? So that's why have your virtual machines in different availability zones and your load balancer to be able to balance the traffic across those virtual machines in different AZs. And that's why you should map your load balancer to all the availability zones. Yeah, that's the use case. Then security groups, I'll remove this default security group and I will go with the security group that I have created for my load balancer, that is ELBSG. So we'll go with that. ELBSG. Yeah, here we go. Right, guys. Then listeners and routing, guys. So guys, it's like, I mean, I'll speak in layman's language, but I think sometimes that helps. So we as humans listen from our ears. so does the load balancer. Like we'll be sending some traffic, HTTP traffic to the load balancer. So that will come through the security group of the load balancer, but then load balancer has to listen to that traffic. So it also needs ears, correct? Like we humans have ears. So the load balancer has, we have ears, load balancer has the listener, through which it will listen to that traffic. And of course, I'm getting that traffic over the internet on port 80 through my security group, that is on HTTP protocol, hypertext transfer protocol, which works on port 80. So the listener should listen to that traffic on HTTP port 80, that is hypertext transfer protocol. And once it listens to that traffic, then what it should do? It has to give that traffic to where? To whom? To the EC2 instances, correct? So those EC2 instances should be registered in the target group of this load balancer so that it can actually forward that traffic to those EC2 instances, to those virtual servers. So for that, we need a target group, okay, inside which we need to register those servers. Okay, so my question is, guys, do we have that target group? Have we created that target group? Tell me quickly. Have we created the target group as of now? Just I'm checking whether you are listening to me or not. Yeah, so we have not created that, correct? So what I'll do is I can create it right away. So I will not see the target group, but I can say create target group. As soon as I say that, it will open it in another window, and there I'll create that target group, guys. So what I'll do is I will just create a target group. So I'll choose a target type. So of course, this target group I am going to create so that this can actually balance the traffic across my virtual machines. Okay, so my virtual machines are something that I'm going to add in this target group. So I'll say virtual machines are nothing but instances. So I'll say choose a target type instances, not IP address, not Lambda function, not another load balancer. So in this target group, the virtual machines are something that I'm going to add. That is nothing but the instances. I call virtual machines as instances, guys. Okay. And yes, so target group name, I can give any name. So I can say, let's say my TGP, my target group, my TGP1. Okay. And then protocol. So of course, since the traffic is coming through your load balancer, through HTTP protocol on port 80, so the target group in that also the instances will listen to the traffic on port 80 HTTP protocol, correct? So I'll go with that. Default VPC, that's all fine. That's all good. Now health checks are there to actually check the health of the instances, whether those instances are running fine or not. Because tomorrow, if you'll add the servers to the target group of the load balancer, so if one of the server is not functioning, the load balancer should not forward the traffic to that server. Okay, so that's for the load balancer should be checking the health of the machines so that if one server is down, the load balancer should not forward the traffic to that server, and that server's traffic should also be forwarded to some other traffic, which also to some other server, which also would be running your website. And that way the users will always see the response from your website, correct? Okay, so that's why there should be health checks to check the health of the servers. Okay. Anyways, we'll go with that default. And next we'll go, guys. And here what we'll do is in the available instances. So now you tell me one good thing, guys. Have we created any instances that we'll add to this target group of the load balancer? So ultimately we have to add the instances, but have we created any instances? The answer is no, right? Okay, so the point is I'll leave this target group as it is. I'll not register any targets as of now because I'm going to create the targets later on, and then I will add it to the target group when I'll create the targets, that is the instances, correct, through my auto scaling group. Okay. Right, so right now I'll not add the targets. Okay, I'll leave it as it is. And I will just create this target group without targets as of now, guys. Have patience. Don't worry. We will have the targets added when we'll create our EC2 instances through our auto scaling group. They will be added to this load balancer because we'll specify this load balancer into that auto scaling group. Okay. So yeah. So that's there. So right now, no target added. Fine, that is good enough, but I've created the target group. And now I can go back to my load balancing screen where I was to give this target group. So now also I don't see the target group, but now I'll refresh it here and I'll start seeing my target group. Okay, so I'll just give my target group here, my TGP1. Yes, Krishna, I'll do that. Yeah. Okay, so my TGP1, guys, and yeah, we have added it. That's it, guys, and I will not change anything else, and I will just create this load balancer. Okay, so we have actually done the job of creating a load balancer. So are you all good till this point? If you are, guys, then we will go and we will create our auto scaling group. So are you all good till this point? Can you please confirm? Okay. So if you want your load balancer to be scalable, Dilip, you can put your load balancer behind a auto scaling group as well. That is something that we are not doing here. We are making our instances scalable, but load balancer is a PaaS-based entity, so even AWS can take care of it for you, or you can put it behind an auto scaling group as well. Yeah. Okay. So yes, that's actually done. Right. So let's go and create the instances through the auto scaling group now. Okay. So now see, I am going to create my auto scaling group, and through that, I'm going to create my instances, guys. But for creating the instances through auto scaling group, I need to provide the configuration for those instances that I want to create through my auto scaling group, and the configuration for those instances I can specify with launch template or launch configuration, guys. Nowadays, AWS doesn't support you to go with launch configuration, correct? Doesn't suggest you to go with launch configuration. So you can specify the configuration with launch template. So we'll do that. Okay. So let's give the configuration through launch template, and then we will create our instances through the auto scaling group. So let's do it quickly. So with launch template, we'll just provide the configuration. We'll not create the instances, but we'll provide the configuration of those instances, like what should be the RAM, what should be the vCPU capacity, and so on. And then with the auto scaling group, we will create the instances based on that configuration, correct? So we'll do that. Okay. So I'll go to launch template first. Here I go. And what we are gonna do, guys, here is we are going to create a launch template. I already have one launch template, which I'll just delete here so that I can show you. I'll create a new, and there's no confusion for you. Okay, so let me say create a launch template, guys. And I'll give the launch template a name. Let's say my LT1, and template version description not required. Auto scaling guidance. So do you want to use it for auto scaling? Yes, I want to. So do you want guidance for that? If you want, you can have it, right? I'll just click here. So now see, through auto scaling, I would like to create what? The instances. So I'll need the AMI, that is the application and OS images, Amazon machine image, guys. So basically with Amazon machine image, I would actually specify the operating system for the virtual machines that would be created through the auto scaling group. Okay, so I can go with, let's say, Linux virtual machines, and I can go with Amazon Linux, and I would go with a version, let's say Amazon Linux to AMI. So I can go with Linux different versions, different flavors, Windows different versions, even Mac OS also. I'm going with Linux, Amazon Linux to AMI. Instance type, guys. So instance type would specify the RAM and the vCPU capacity for virtual machines. So you have several instance type from which you can choose one. Okay, you have actually different families available. Okay, like you have T family, M family, and so on. And based on your use case, you can go with a family and then a particular size, particular option in that family. Like, let's say if you're interested in general purpose usage, you should go with T family or M family. If you want to create small or medium database servers or web servers, And let's say if you are interested in machine learning workloads, you can go with that particular family. And guys, going with a particular family, then you can go with a particular size in that family. Like in T family, you have T2 small, T2 micro, T2 large, and so on. So you can go with any of the choices. I'll go with T2 micro, which will give me 1 vCPU and 1 GB of RAM capacity. So every different option will give you different vCPUs and different RAM capacities. I'll go with T2 micro, guys. Okay. Right, so that gives me 1 vCPU and 1 GB of RAM capacity, and that's freely eligible also. Now, key pair, guys. So basically with key pair, you can actually connect to your virtual machines, let's say from your laptop. Okay, you can generate the username and password through that. Anyways, right, so I can actually create a key pair. Okay, so I can specify the key pair here. I can give any key pair. Let's say my KP1 27, today's date, my KP1 27, and I'll just create that. And then what? Network settings. So do you want to specify the subnet inside which you want to create the virtual machines? So I can just leave it for now, and then I can specify that during the auto scaling group. Then security groups, guys. So if you remember, we have created a security group for our virtual machine. So we will specify that security group here. So I'll go with that particular security group. That is a WebSG, correct? Not the ELBSG, because WebSG is the security group that I had specified for my virtual machines for EC2 instances. I'll specify that, guys. Okay, all good, guys. Then storage. So I am interested in 8 GB of GIB of volume for the root, that is the operating system. I can go with that. Okay, so I'll go with that particular volume, 8 GB of volume for the operating system files, OS files. I am not adding another volume for user data. If you want, you can add it. So 8 GB of volume would be added to all the virtual machines that would be created through the auto scaling group that would use this launch template. Okay. That's it, guys. And then in the advanced details, guys, I will just go down here, and then I can just provide a script to add the web server functionality to these virtual machines that would be created through this launch template, through the auto scaling group that would use this launch template. Because, guys, I want my virtual machines to run my website. So I need to install, let's say, any web server functionality. So I would install the Apache web server functionality. So for that, for installing, let's say, the Apache web server functionality, I would give the script to install the Apache web server functionality onto these virtual machines. And here goes my script, guys. Okay, I'll just explain you a bit and I'll put it there. Hash, I'm writing it in shebang format, hash bin bash, and then I'm saying yum update y, so that will update the Apache service. Yum install HTTPD y, so that will install the Apache service, HTTPD service, Apache service. Then service HTTPD start, so that will start the Apache server. Check config HTTPD on means when your virtual machine will restart, if at all. So the Apache service should automatically be able to restart as well. So that's why you can make the HTTPD service on. Okay. So you can say check config HTTPD on, okay, so that the Apache service will restart if at all the virtual machine stops and start. If you don't make it on here, then if your virtual machine will stop and then start, then your Apache service will not automatically start. Then you'll have to make it service HTTPD start again. You'll have to fire that command again. But with this, you don't need that. Then going in the default location of Apache where the Apache would be installed, that is /where/www/html, and there you can actually create let's say an index.html file, and you can write hello world into it, and you can echo it. Okay, and that will become the homepage of your website. And you can also have a healthy.html file wherein you can write I am healthy, and you can ping that and see the health of your virtual machine if required. If not, you can leave it. But yes, index.html will become the homepage of your website that would say hello world, and that would be code on the homepage of your virtual machines. Okay, so that will become the homepage of your website, hello world. Okay, whatever you're writing there. So I'll just paste it here, guys, and that's it. And then what? I'll just create this launch template. So I hope this is clear. So how I created this launch template, guys. So now I'll go to the auto scaling groups and we'll use this launch template actually to create our auto scaling group, correct? So that we can create our virtual machines with this configuration, okay, that we have specified in the launch template. Okay, so we will go with what? We will go with auto scaling, correct? So that's the last option here in EC2 itself. So I'll go with auto scaling groups, guys, and I'll say create an auto scaling group, and I'll give my auto scaling group a name. Let's say ASG1. And then I want to use that auto launch template, guys. So I'll specify that my LT1. And there you can see the configuration of my launch template already specified there, guys. And then I can go next. Now, do you want to use that launch template to create your auto scaling group to create the virtual machines through this auto scaling group, or you want to override that launch template? So whatever the configuration that you have specified in that launch template, if you don't want to use that, you can override that configuration and you can specify your own vCPUs and I mean, a minimum, maximum, and the RAM capacity may not be the one that is specified in the launch template with T2 micro, like 1 GIB of RAM and 1 vCPU. If you want to use something different, you can specify it here, guys. You can override your launch template, but I don't want to do that, guys. I want to follow my launch template. So I'll say reset to launch template. Then VPC, I'll go with default. And then see, I told you subnets. I didn't specify that during the launch template. I can specify it here. So again, I can select all the subnets, all the availability zones, guys, so that my virtual machines, multiple virtual machines, let's say if they are hosting my Amazon website, so they would be created in different availability zones, not just in one availability zone. So that will give high availability to my website, because if one availability zone goes down, so VMs from that availability zone will go down, but the VMs in another availability zone will still be functioning. So I'll put it in all the availability zones. So some VMs would be created in some availability zone, some other in another availability zone, and that would give high availability to my website. The next I go, so guys, load balancer. Do you have a load balancer? Do you want to attach that load balancer here? Hey, Shantanu, you can try that. So, so load balancer, guys, tell me, do you have a load balancer? No load balancer attached to an existing load balancer or attached to a new load balancer. So what option I should go with? Tell me. Tell me, guys. Come on, quickly. You have created a load balancer, isn't it? No, you have already created a load balancer. So attached to an existing load balancer, correct? So I'll say attached to an existing load balancer. And when I do that, guys, see, it asks me for the target group of that load balancer. So guys, if you remember, we had created the target group, my TGP of my load balancer, which had no targets, no VMs registered into it. Now that target group of my load balancer, I will specify it here. And then whatever the virtual machines that would be created through this auto scaling group, those would be automatically registered to that target group of that load balancer, correct? So I'll specify the target group, my TGP1. As soon as you click here, you see that, and that's good enough, guys. That's it, guys. And like your load balancer will check the health of your instances, so does the auto scaling group also can check the health of your instances as well. And you can turn on load balancing health checks also here. That's it, guys. You can monitor your instances through CloudWatch, okay? And then you go next. And here, see, now the point is, guys, here, this is the auto scaling setting that I'm specifying here. So desired capacity. So here, if I say desired capacity as 2, that means initially 2 virtual machines would be created through this load balancer initially. Okay. Oh, sorry. Through this auto scaling group, initially 2 VMs would be created. Okay, guys. And then I can specify the minimum capacity and the max capacity. Now, what do you understand by that, guys? So minimum capacity, let's say if I say minimum capacity is 2, or like in this particular diagram here in this PPT, so always 2 virtual machines would be running, even with 0 load, okay? And if I say max as 5, so no more than 5 virtual machines would be created, even if those 5 virtual machines are 100% CPU utilized also. Correct. And in between, I can add or delete the virtual machines as per the conditions. That is, if the CPU utilization is greater than 80%, I can add more VMs. If it is less than 20%, I can delete one VM. So yeah, I can go like that. So here, guys, I can specify, let's say, minimum as 1 and max as 3. So always one virtual machine would be running even if there is zero load. Okay. And there will not be more than 3 virtual machines at any point in time, even if all the 3 virtual machines are 100% loaded also. Correct. So that's what min max will specify. Now, when I want to increase my virtual machines, okay, then I want to scale up, scale out my virtual machines. Okay, so I can specify that with the help of scaling policy here. Okay, when I say that, so I can have that based on any metric like average CPU utilization or average network in bytes or average network out bytes or application load balancer request count per target. So let's say I'm going with average CPU utilization, guys. And if I say if the average CPU utilization goes above 50%, so then increase the number of instances. Okay, so I'm saying if the average CPU utilization goes above 50%, then increase the number of instances. So if there are initially 2 instances, make it 3, increase it by 1. Okay, and yeah, so and if all the 3 instances goes above 50% CPU utilization, then a 4th instance should be created but will not be created because maximum capacity is specified as 3 only. Correct. So that's what I'm specifying. But if there is one instance and if the CPU utilization goes above 50%, one more instance would be created. And if on 2 instances, again, if CPU utilization goes above 50% on an average, then a 3rd instance would also be created. Correct. So initially 2 instances would be there. And when the CPU utilization on those 2 instances will go above 50%, then a 3rd instance would be created. Ideally, you should go with 80 or 90% to decide to increase the number of instances. But I can just put the manual traffic and would like to see this happening. So that's why I can go with just 50% traffic. Okay, to see to it whether my instances are getting increased or not. Okay, so yes, that's good enough. And then enable scaling protection. So if the load is less, the number of VMs should be reduced also. If you want to not to reduce the instances if the load is less, then you can enable scaling protection. But I don't want to do that. I would like the instances to be reduced also if the load is less. So I'll go with next. And then see, this is optional, the notifications that if the number of instances are increased, if the CPU utilization goes above 50%, then I may be informed on my mail ID also that this has happened with the help of with the help of SNS topics, simple notification service. So I can create that. Well, that is not required. So I'll leave that. And then tags are again optional. I'll leave it. And then guys, I'll just go and create it. So I'll say create auto scaling group. So is it clear to all of you guys? Yeah. How we are creating this auto scaling group? Yes or no? So see, right now there are 0 instances and then it is updating the capacity. Desired is 2, minimum is 1, max is 3. Is it clear till this point, guys? Yes or no? Tell me quickly. Yeah, it's clear. Okay, so I'll just go inside this auto scaling. Okay, I'll not go inside this auto scaling group, but rather I can just refresh it and I can see to it. See, now there are 2 instances that are already created. Okay, right? So I can just go and see whether those 2 instances are created or not. So I can go to instances and I can check it out, guys. So you can see 2 instances running, guys. Can you see that? Yeah. Now you have not created these instances manually, but they have been created automatically through the auto scaling group, guys, isn't it? Yeah. And I'll show you something interesting here. If you go inside these instances and if you go to the monitoring part of it, okay, and if you scroll down a bit, it's taking some time. Okay. And if you see the CPU utilization, guys, so see right now, no CPU utilization because these are just created. You have not forwarded any traffic to these instances. Plus, if you'll go to the other instance also, guys, I'm running a bit slow. Yeah. If you go to the another instance also, you can see that in the CPU, in the monitoring part of it. In CPU utilization, No data available, correct? So right now there is no traffic on these EC2 instances, guys. Ideally, the traffic will come through load balancer, guys. But right now we are not running a live website so that the traffic will come through a load balancer. I mean, so much traffic. So rather, to see the traffic increasing on these instances, I will connect to these instances manually and I will put some stress, put some traffic manually on these instances, guys. And yeah, so what I'll do is I will just connect to these instances, guys. Okay. So I can just go to my first instance and I can say connect. Okay, and I'll just connect to my first instance. Okay, and I'll try to put some traffic there. Okay, so I'm connected to my first instance, guys. And I'll put some traffic here and see, I have a document for that as well. I'll put this traffic, I'll install the stress tool through these commands and that would put the traffic on these instances, guys. So I'll first do sudo su. So that way I will come to super user privilege. And there I will put these commands, guys. That is, I'll show you. I'll say sudo Amazon Linux extras install epl y, yum install stress y, stress c2. These are three different commands. I will run it together. They will run one by one, guys. Okay, so they'll run one by one on my first instance. And similarly, I'll run it on my second instance as well, guys. Okay. So I will connect to my second instance as well. Okay, let it run on the first instance and I'll connect to my second instance as well, guys. B03, BB03 is the first instance. Okay, its private IP is 1.177. And yeah, stress to this command also. So now see, you can see it has like hung up in a loop, but actually that stress it is putting on this instance, correct? So I'll just go with another instance also now. This is BB03. Okay, I will go with another instance also. And I'll connect to that instance as well. And I will try to run the stress commands on that instance as well. So I'll just say connect and I'll say connect. I hope it is clear why I'm doing it so that the traffic can increase about 50% and a third instance would be automatically created. Okay, that's why I'm putting some traffic on these instances, guys. So again, on this instance, I'll say sudo su. I'll come to super user privilege and then I'll run these commands one by one. Like I'll just put it all together and they will run one by one, guys. Okay. So yeah, so that's getting done. And maybe with these commands, a lot of traffic may not be put on these instances so that the instance traffic may not go above 50%, guys. You can always check it out as well. If you go to these instances, yeah, so this also I'll run P2. Yeah, and then if you go to these instances, guys, maybe the traffic still may not be that much. Okay, because these commands may not put too much of traffic if you go to the monitoring part of it, guys. So you can see it is up to 23. Yeah, you can enlarge and see. So see the traffic has increased. Okay. So it is how much? It is, you can see this dot. It is 22.8%, but I want the average should be 50%, correct? So it's still not 50%. On the first instance, it is 22.8. And then on the second instance, if you will go to your second instance, guys, the traffic on the second instance is how much, how much, how much? Okay, so maybe we'll just see that. So the traffic on second instance is 9.83%. So if you take the average of both two, it's still not more than 50%. So either you can wait for it to become more than 50% and then the third instance would be created, guys, or else I'll put another let's say a while loop and infinite while loop to increase the traffic furthermore on these instances. So I'll connect to these instances once again. Okay, so I'll say connect on to my first instance or second instance again. And I will put another command on this instance because when I've connected the first time, it is already putting the stress. It is in the loop itself. So I am connecting to the instances again, and I will try to put the traffic again, guys. So I will say sudo su on the first instance again. And then I will write this command, guys, that is while true, do echo done. Okay, while true means it's a while loop, infinite while loop, while one, and then I'm giving semicolon. So nothing after that would be printed, no do echo, no done. So it would be while one, it would be just rotating in that while loop itself. Okay, so that's what is going to happen. Now let's connect to the second instance also. That is, this is EC1. So maybe the first instance, I'll connect back again and I'll do the same thing there also. Okay. And that would be it then, guys. So I will just connect to my first instance again. Okay, and I will just run that command again. Okay, I am almost done, guys, almost done. Okay, just that I have to show you the result getting increased the number of instances. Sudo su. You're just testing the things out, and I will just run this while true do echo done. Yeah, so stress is being put. Now we will just see in the monitoring part of both the instances if the traffic goes above 50% or not. If it does, then a third instance would be created. See, guys, already you can see. Congratulations, a third instance is already running. See, it's initializing. Yeah, so you already have the third instance in place. Correct. Why that has happened? That has happened automatically, guys. I didn't create it, correct? But that got created automatically because the traffic on the first two instances has gone above 50%. I'm not just saying it. I'll show it to you. If you go to your first instance and if you go to the monitoring part of it, so you can see to the traffic here. It is what? It is 9.54% on the first instance. Okay. And then if you go to the another instance, monitoring part of it, see how much it is. 64.8%, guys. You can enlarge it and see it. See how much it is. It is 68.9%, and it is increasing even more, correct? So that's what you can see. So the average is above 50%, and that's why you see a third instance coming up. Okay, that's why you have seen a third instance have started, guys. So this was your first instance, BB03, and then I think this was your second instance. One was the second instance, correct? So you can see on one instance, it was about like around 70% the traffic was. Okay, CPU utilization. And here you can see, even here also, it is what? 77.6%, 77.6%, guys. So on first instance, it is almost 68, 69%. And then on the second instance, it is what? 78.8%, guys. So if you average them up, is it not more than 50%? Yes, it is. Yeah. So because the average of these two instance traffic is above 50%, and that's why, guys, you see a third instance has got created, correct? Yeah, but it will not go beyond third instance, guys. A fourth instance will not be created because the max limit you have specified as 3 only. And I'll show you now something interesting in auto scaling group also, guys. that whatever has happened, that activity has been recorded in the auto scaling group. If you go to auto scaling group and if you go to the activity part of it, so you can see here, initially 2 instances were created, because when you created this auto scaling group, the desired capacity was 2. And so see, the reason is mentioned here, what time it got created. So user created an auto scaling group, changing the desired capacity from 0 to 2. An instance was started in response to a difference between the desired and actual capacity. That is, from 0, it had to turn to 2, increasing the capacity from 0 to 2. The same reason. And then when you actually auto scale, launching a new EC2 instance. So based on a monitor alarm, target auto scaling, target tracking auto scaling group, alarm high, okay, changing the desired capacity from 2 to 3, guys. Okay, from 2 to 3 it was changed, and an instance was started in response to because the desired capacity was changed from 2 to 3 because the CPU utilization went above 50%. So changing the desired capacity from 2 to 3, and an instance was initiated in response to a difference between the desired and the actual capacity. So it went from 2 to 3, guys. Correct, guys. So you can see this, isn't it, guys? So yeah, you can see these activities, and yeah, so that's there, guys. Correct. So that's the point. And yes, of course, so this is what auto scaling does for you. Yeah, we have seen the auto scaling today. And if you want to go to your load balancers, so you will see your load balancer right here. And if you go to your load balancer, you can get the public IP of your load balancer also, guys. And if you put it the DNS name, and if you put it in the browser, guys, the DNS name of your load balancer, if I put it in my browser, so the traffic will go to these instances, correct? So if I put the DNS name of my load balancer, then the traffic will go to my instances as well, correct? So you can see hello world. Can you see that, guys, right? So you can see hello world here, guys, correct? So yeah, because on all the VMs only hello world is running, that's why you see hello world. Okay, if I let's say just one more moment, so yeah, so the load balancer is also running fine, and that's what you can see it there. The load balancer is actually balancing the traffic across your EC2 instances, correct? So that's what you can see it, guys, correct? And not just that thing, guys. If I connect to, let's say, on one of my instance one more time, and if I change the script of that particular home page from, let's say, hello world to something else, so you can see that change also, that the load balancer will send the traffic to both of your instances as well. I mean, right now also it is sending the traffic to all the instances, but you are just seeing hello world from all the instances homepage. That's why you don't come to know that whether the traffic is going to my first instance or the second instance, or when it is going to my first instance or when second instance. Okay, so if you want to see that, maybe I'll go to one of the instance and I'll go to the default location of Apache, that is where www.html, and there I will go to the index.html file that we had created as the home page of my website. Okay, and sorry, not cd, but vi, index.html. Okay, index.html. Okay, and see, I can see hello world there, and I can just go to insert mode, and I will say hello world, I am from VM1. Okay, I'm from VM1, and I'll just say escape :WQ. Okay, save and exit. Okay, and then that's good enough. And now with the load balancer in picture, I would just refresh it. And sometimes it's, see, hello world, I am from VM1, guys. Can you see that? And again, if I take the IP, the name of my load balancer, and if I go to, let's say, another screen, let's say incognito window, and if I run that load balancer name again, you can see the load balancer sometimes going to your VM1, sometimes to your VM2 or 3. Yeah, so you can see that change. I can give you this load balancers, my load balancer DNS name also to you in the chat window, guys, and you can put it in your browsers, and you will also see when you will put the load balancer's DNS name in your browsers, my load balancer name. So sometimes my load balancer will forward the traffic to VM1 and sometimes to VM2 or 3 and sometimes to VM2 and sometimes to VM3 and sometimes to VM1, and that you can see it because I mean, you can see that when the load balancer will send the traffic to VM1, you will see the response as hello world, I'm from VM1, and when to VM2 or 3, you will see the response as hello world only. Yeah. So that's the beauty. Yeah. So load balancers functionality is also running fine, guys, that it is balancing the load across your VMs in a load balance manner. And you have been able to create automatically a third instance when the traffic increased on your two instances above 50%, guys. Correct? Yeah. So you have your 3 instances running, and it is not going above 3 instances because the max you had specified as 3 only. And I've shown you through monitoring also that the traffic was going above 50%. I've shown you through auto scaling group also, guys, in the activities that, yeah, what happened when the traffic increased. So a third instance got created. Yeah. Yes, so congratulations, guys. I hope this proves everything for you, how it's done, how actually your Amazon website works during sale days, your Flipkart website works during sale days. This is actually they work, guys. This is how it's actually done, the real-time thing. Yeah, I hope that's all good with you, and I hope you must have liked it and you have got something good from the session. Thanks a lot. Yeah, sorry for the extra time, Rasha. I'm so sorry. I always
No,
say.
actually, Dr. Purushottam, I would like to actually tell you that I can see actually close to 100% stickiness attendance. So that is actually really amazing, first of all. Folks, paying attention to the session and they actually staying up, and it's always beautiful to learn something new, right? I think that is one of the most best parts about
Yeah.
these
I'm
live
so sorry for
sessions.
the extra time, but I'm telling you, I tried really fast to go, but I just wanted to cover it up. Yeah. Thank
Yeah,
you.
what we will do is we will actually be sending the recording of the session, right? So you guys,
Okay.
in case you feel like he's going fast there, that is where you can, stop and like rewatch again as well. But I can see the response on the chat here. With that, I can definitely see that like folks actually enjoyed the session and a lot of good comments, coming in. So this program was covered by the AWS Cloud Architect Masters program. Thank you so much for the appreciation for Dr. Purushottam here. Uh, and thank you so much for staying also, we have actually extended the session, but it's always a pleasure, like covering such topics for you folks. And we are just we'll try to cover the session faster now. So we will move towards the Q&A as well because we've gotten so many amazing questions here. Let me just quickly open the learning management system of the program and just to give you a quick overview here. So this is basically the learning management system by Simplilearn. You can see the help section here, which actually helps you with any questions you might have about the certificate, the live sessions, anything about the management system. You might be facing it, just drop us a message here on the chat. And I think within few minutes, you should be able to get the response. And these are the courses which are covered in the program. We have already discussed about this in detail. So, and the electives here, as we can see as well. And also the certificate, basically you need to unlock the certificate here. Now, quickly opening one of the basically learning paths here and showing you what's inside that. So there is a self-learning session which has, like courses here in recorded form, just to give you an understanding while you're attending the live classes here, which will be available in this section. It might not be visible right now. Okay, well, it is visible because there are ongoing classes. Yeah, so as you can see, this is a global program. The classes are pretty much designed in a way where it is, comfortable for everyone joining globally. So you can opt for them, and once you have opted for the classes, you will be able to see the classes which you're opted for here. And in case you want to go through the recording of the past sessions, you can find it here in the past class section. And then there are assessments as well. So maybe Dr. Purushottam, you can tell us a little bit about these assessments here and the labs here, which are present in the program.
Yeah, sure. So see, these assessments are basically the course and projects plus, I mean, in the assessments, you have the course and projects plus you have some objective questions, the quizzes. So you can attempt for them. And the course and projects, you will have multiple of them. And one of them would be taken by the mentor, the instructor during the live classes. Okay, like the one we have taken it today. Okay, and then you need to complete one out of the project and one assessment to be able to unlock your certificate, apart from the attendance requirement that is there. And then regarding the e-learning material, so you will have that material. I mean, you can download it, plus the instructor can share their own material with you as well. Yeah, so that's there.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Purshottam. Yeah, that just sums it up about the learning management system. And also we have covered the program here. I'll be sharing you the scan code of the program in case you want to save it for downloading the syllabus here from here. So I will be sharing the scanning code which you can directly save it. So yeah, we just covered the AWS Cloud Architect master's program here, which is the certification for this is aligned by AWS. You can check out details here. The tools covered the learning path, and this is how the certificate will look like. Moving back to the slide, talking about the learner outcomes here. So interestingly, the previous classes have consisted of learners, coming from world-class organizations like IBM, Microsoft, Oracle, Amazon, Wells Fargo, and also diverse industries like IT, software, BFSI, e-commerce, and many others. And talking about the alumni themselves. So let's see what are the alumni saying here about the AWS Cloud Architect program here. So Rajiv here says that the Simplilearn is ideal destination to advance your skills, and the teaching methodology and courses are structured to make it effortless. And for anyone to master cutting edge technologies, including the AWS Cloud Architect domain, the Simplilearn's AWS Cloud Architect trainings ensures you gain the expertise needed to excel in this thriving field. Also, Vineet Mayankari shares here that he sought AWS Architect training to upskill and transition to cloud-based roles, moving away from infrastructure management. And hearing about Simplilearn on the radio, I Googled it, spoke to an ISM, and compared it with other platforms, impressed by the course, content, and now I plan to pursue official AWS certification. And then there are many more. What is the demand right now in the market? Maybe Dr. Purushottam, if you can take us to why exactly folks should pursue a career as an AWS Cloud Architect at this time.
Okay, why pursue a career as an AWS Cloud Architect? See, architect role is something that is going to yield you a lot of value, because architects are one of the most valuable persons in any organization. Okay, because they save a lot of money of your organization. They make the design decision, the actual work. Okay, so that's why valued a lot. And when it comes to AWS Cloud Architect, guys, so cloud is in thing, public cloud platforms are in thing. And when you talk about public cloud platforms, so AWS is the market leader. So any organization that is in cloud, which many of them are in, or many of them are trying to get into, so they are into AWS, or they are trying to get into AWS, being the market leader. So when it comes to AWS, and if you are a AWS Cloud Architect, well, you getting a job, you getting a better career and hikes in your job, being a AWS Cloud Architect, that actually is very likely that is going to happen. So there is huge demand, there are attractive salaries, there is career growth, and more than that, there is a lot of satisfaction that you're going to get, because all these things would add to your satisfaction.
Totally agree with that. Thank you so much, Dr. Purshottam, for sharing with us the trend and the demand for the cloud architect positions here. And at the end of it all, you'll be getting a Simplilearn's AWS Cloud Architect Master's Certificate. You can see it here. This will be certification aligned with AWS, and 20 plus in-demand tools and skills, and 8x higher interaction, the live online classes conducted by Simplilearn experts, and also job assist and career assist services. In that, you'll be getting basically a partnership with IM Jobs, which will help you with a wide employer network, and also resume services to help you rebuild your resume, and also interview preparation services as well. with an SME which is assigned to you. So with that, we would like to conclude and also would love to know, are you interested in enrolling into the AWS Cloud Architect Master's Program by Simplilearn? I'm launching this poll which says, would you like to enroll into the program? You can just respond by saying yes. And I'll quickly take you through the enrollment steps very quickly after this. And we will move towards the Q&A and then towards the webinar poll. So just wait a few more minutes, folks. Let's close the session. But thank you so much for, first of all, being here and interacting and engaging on the chat here. And I saw a lot of folks who basically were paying attention and learning a lot of things and in participating and helping each other out in the chat as well and talking with the instructor. So that's really great. We've gotten a really amazing audience here. And folks who are watching us live on our YouTube channel, thank you for sticking around. If you've stuck around till now, so you will be, if you're interested in enrolling into the AWS Cloud Architect Master's Program by Simplilearn, you can go to the top link on the live chat box and you'll be able to see the same program page link which I've shown right now. And it will have basically a section where you can fill your basic details and let us know if you're interested in enrolling. So after this, the enrollment steps which I show will be the same followed for you folks as well. And if you're watching us later, you can find the link in the description on the top of the description box. And yeah, same process to basically enroll. Awesome. I see most of you have already responded. So last 10 seconds for the poll. Would you like to enroll into the AWS Cloud Architect Master's Program by Simplilearn? And last 10 seconds for the poll here, folks. You can respond yes if you're interested, and we'll be quickly moving on to the enrollment steps. So last 5 seconds. Questions in the Q&A box. This is a really good time to, if you have any questions, folks responding yes on the chat, please make sure you have responded yes on the poll as well. So last 5 seconds now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let me quickly end the poll. Thank you so much. Thank you. A lot of you have shared interest towards enrollment. So let me quickly take you through the enrollment steps. So there are 3 simple, easy steps you have to basically follow. And these are the steps which the learning consultants from Simplilearn also will take you through. So step 1 here is you'll have to submit an application. You have to apply at askus@simpli.net. Step 2 here is your application will be going for review based on the eligibility and criteria for the program. And step 3 here is you have basically learning consultants from Simplilearn reach out to you. So moving on to the program fee here. For RW candidates, the fee here is $1,299 including GST. And for Indian candidates, the fee here is 44,999 INR rupees including the GST. I'll share the scan code of the program page. You can save that for yourself for downloading the brochure and checking out fee in your own region. So we do have EMI and installment options also available. So in case you want to opt for them, so we do have partners for that for different regions. For that, you can check out the scan, which I'll be showing you. And also, let me just move on towards the next page where you can actually see the scan of the program page. So you can just save that. It will take you to the program page and go and download the syllabus. You have already submitted your details. So that is not required to go and submit once again. If you're not able to, then you can go and submit using the basically program page details which you see. So yeah, I think, Dr. Purshottam, I think we can quickly just, take up the questions here. We don't have much time. So maybe like in 5 minutes, how much ever you can cover, we can do that because folks are actually waiting for the webinar certificate for this.
Yeah, sure. So any prerequisite doing solutions architect program. So I mean, see, you can be discussed from the basics. So no as such prerequisites. However, if you have good knowledge, some good knowledge on operating systems and networks, that would be helpful. Difference between CloudFormation and Beanstalk. Beanstalk is a PaaS-based service that helps you to create your web applications, wherein behind the scenes, the servers are managed by AWS. CloudFormation is an IaaC, infrastructure as a service code, wherein you write the codes and you can create a lot of services like virtual machine and different databases and stuff. Okay, so all the different services you can create through code with CloudFormation, and they are reusable as well. Those codes are. And then how we covering EKS? So EKS is Elastic Kubernetes Service. So that is basically container orchestration. So yeah, so that comes under container orchestration. what is the roadmap of becoming an architect? What would be your entry level job? And see, a roadmap for becoming an architect, you should be a certified person on a AWS architect if you want to be an AWS architect. And then if you have some good experience on architect role, or otherwise if you have some good experience, then you can promote. Otherwise also, then you can be promoted to an architect role. But initially, if you don't have any experience, then you can be promoted to a cloud engineer role, and later you can become an architect. But yes, this certification can help you to get into a cloud engineer role initially as well. Is this only related to AWS and Elite services? I'm working as enterprise for, okay. So maybe if you want to work with multi-clouds, okay, like Azure and other stuff as well, you can also think about other programs as well, like let's say the postgraduate program in cloud computing through Simplilearn, okay, and that would talk about Azure and maybe GCP as well, apart from AWS. What is the best approach, having separate security groups for each EC2? What is the best approach, having separate for each EC2 using load balance, single security group? See, for EC2 instances, you can have a single security group, and for load balancer, another security group, that the way we did. Okay. And certified AWS Solutions Architect, but I want some projects for my LinkedIn profile. So yeah, these projects can be a good go, and you can add it to your LinkedIn profile, and that would be really helpful. Yeah. Okay. Then session. Okay. Rasha, you want to say something? I didn't get it.
Oh yeah. I was saying that we folks are waiting for the webinar certificate poll.
Okay. Okay. So maybe shall we close it then? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So
Sure.
I would want to move towards the end. After this, I'll be launching the webinar poll for certificate. So thank you so much, first of all, Dr. Purshottam. I actually saw the magic happening when I actually saw, almost 100% people sticking around. Even we have extended the session, and that actually shows, like how people enjoy, the way you teach. And thank you so much, like, for joining us for an amazing session.
Yeah. No worries. Yeah. Thank you. It's always great to be here. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now we will move on to the webinar certificate poll. But before that, we would also love to know how was the content of the session for you. So I'm launching a poll. You can rate us out of 5 being the highest if you really enjoyed the session, if you liked the session. So you can rate us 5 here. Sorry for my throat. So yeah, I see a lot of amazing responses, like fantastic 5 out of 5 for Dr. Purushottam.
Oh,
It's
thank you.
written on the chat.
Thanks a lot. Yeah.
So thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. I'll be launching the webinar certificate poll after this. Please don't worry.
And I've just answered some of the questions that were left out in the chat window also. I mean, in the questions.
5 and 5, like on the chat. I think this has, by the way, this has happened for the first time, huh? Like,
Okay. Thank you.
folks are replying like, like 5 waiting on the chat. So yeah, that shows like how much they enjoyed the session.
Yeah, that's actually gives a lot of satisfaction. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks a lot for giving it to me. Yeah.
10
Thanks a
out
lot,
of 5.
Rasha. Yeah.
10 out of 5, another one. Welcome, Dr. Ushita.
Okay.
So yeah, folks, we actually, do a lot of these amazing webinars where you will be able to see Dr. Purushottam as well. So I'm sharing the link towards, all early access actually towards all the upcoming webinars. You can, go and check out ones which are basically updated here and register for all of them and come and explore. You will find a lot of webinars in the cloud category as well. Awesome. Last 5 seconds for the poll. How satisfied are you with the content of the session? So you can rate us out of 5, and 5 being the highest. So if you enjoyed the session, so I'll be ending the poll now. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for being such an amazing audience with a lot of patience here. So moving on to the webinar certificate poll. So when I launch this poll now, all you have to do is you have to enter your full name, which you want to see on your webinar certificate. So that is how we can send you that. And this is a compulsion that you need to enter your name here in order to receive the webinar certificate. And also would like to thank you once again, like for staying till the end, even though we have extended the session, just to address, your questions as well. So yeah, we tried to address as much as possible. So
And even, sorry to interrupt, I've also given answers to few questions in the chat window. I mean, on the answers also, like through the chat as well. Like,
yes. Folks, please do go and check out the Q&A answer section. Dr. Purushottam is also answering there as well. So you can check out the responses there and also let us know if you have any follow-up questions. So yeah, so even after this webinar, you can reach out to us at ask us at simply.net. And let me just quickly share that with you on the chat here. So you can basically reach out to us with any queries you might have, and we will help you out. And also, I think I've mentioned earlier that we have a hashtag which is growing on LinkedIn, and folks are actually using that hashtag to share the certificate on LinkedIn to showcase their professional development, and they're staying up to date with the trends of the session and these categories they're interested in. So I'm sharing the link here. You can go and follow the hashtag Simply Grow and see some amazing updates, and folks sharing their professional development on the basic on LinkedIn there. You can also tag our Simplilearn handle and also our expert Dr. Purshottam Assudani. Awesome. I see most of you responded for the poll here. So I think I'll just give last 5 seconds. Last 5 seconds, very quick, to receive your proof of attendance for this webinar. Please enter your full name as you wish for it to appear on the e-certificate. So please do that. Last 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let me quickly end the poll. And with this, we will be ending the session. And thank you so much once again, Dr. Purshottam, for such an interesting and amazing session. And thank you, everyone, for being in such an amazing audience. So thank you so much for folks who have shared interest towards enrollment. Hopefully, we'll be seeing you in the upcoming cohorts of the program. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Have a good night, good day, good evening, wherever you're joining us from. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Rashi. Thank you.